welcome for all that are joining us right now. It's a special day. Day two of our second annual National Stars convening. Welcome. If you're just joining, please go ahead and let us know that you're here in the chat. Please share your name, your pronouns, and your location. We have some new special guests on today, and we'd love to know who is with us. So appreciate you all filing into the Zoom space. In the chat, you'll see some accessibility disclosures. We want to make all of our content as accessible as possible. So in the chat, you'll see a couple of notices that'll be coming in shortly about that. We may have lost the music, but we have not lost the energy. It is, again, day two of the second annual National Stars convening. For those that are a little bit closer to the work and the mission and the movement, you may have noticed a little bit of two different titles for today's event. One said the Stars Advisory Council convening, and this one up here on the screen, the second annual National Stars convening. That's because we're between two moments, y'all. We're between the roots of where we started with our Stars Advisory Council. We actually have our original inaugural chair, LaShana Lewis, on the call with us today. We've also got some of our inaugural members, Nguyen, who's our special guest for our first program. And then we have Barbara Leach, our newly appointed vice chair. So we have a special program. We're going to get started in just 1 minute. It's really a special moment in the movement. So with about 20 on with us now and more surely joining shortly, I'm going to go ahead and kick us off with just some brief comments, and then we'll get right into the program. So my name is Nicholas Olmo. I am the director of the STARS Engagement and Enablement Partnerships here at Opportunity at Work. It's a distinct pleasure to hold this position because I myself am a proud STAR. I've been with the organization almost 3 years, and I came to this organization for the ability to make things better for people like us, to make the road just a little bit easier. And so I give thanks up front to all of you STARS who lean into this work. We literally yesterday launched our STARS Movement Builders community, because it takes sometimes those who are most affected by the problems, the barriers, the challenges to actually get together and do something about it. And today's first segment is going to tell you explicitly more about how some of those who really have leaned in from the beginning, and I'm talking about the way beginning, back to the beginning, which you'll hear about how they've stepped up in their roles to do it. But before I do that, I do want to highlight Barbara Leach in this moment. Barbara Leach is our vice chair. And if we go back to the beginning, a lot of this work started with studying the problem and studying the problem involved research and hearing directly from stars and hearing their stories. And so if you go to Opportunity at Work's website and you look at our Star Stories page, you will see a picture and a story of Barbara Leach. And so Barbara, I'd like to welcome you in just to share a word and let the people know a little bit who you are, and maybe a reflection from day one, because day one was pretty awesome yesterday, wasn't it?
It was absolutely amazing. I was so excited to just be in this space, and the fact that people not only came, but they came and they stayed, which means that people were really engaged and really excited about day one. I hope that you will continue to lean in to what we have today. It's going to be even more exciting. So I look forward to spending these next 3 hours with you. Welcome.
Oh man, and that is a special thing for any who know Barbara. She is someone we consider to be our sage. She's someone who brings wisdom every single time she shows up. She's like everybody's favorite auntie. If you know, you know. So, Barbara, thank you for leaning in to the movement, sharing your story, being such a fearless advocate as you were in your career. Barbara is someone who broke through the paper ceiling to actually work literally at a higher education institution out there in North Carolina and really do tremendous work. So in our full program guide, which we'll drop in the chat for you, the program guide has more information about the entire program that we're running, as well as information about our org and the individuals behind the movement. So feel free to check that out. I think I'll also just shout out the team behind this. Anytime you do an event, there's many people behind it, but there's a couple of key people I want to highlight before we go right into the program, and that's George at Braxton, affectionately known as George. George is the event producer extraordinaire behind this entire effort, along with Dawn B., our community manager, who helped launch the community on Slack yesterday. And with that, I also want to give a shout out to Vio and Charmaine. They are members of our member experience team, but also our extraordinary event production team. So all the things that are working are because of them. So thank you all. And anyone else who contributed to this event, just tremendous thanks. But without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to those who are leading the program, and in particular, turn it over to LaShana Lewis. LaShana Lewis, if you look it up, go online, you'll see many things when you Google the name. And way back, you will see LaShana Lewis with Byron Agis and even the former President Obama at the beginning of the story. But I'll stop there, and LaShana, turn it to you to kick us off for our fireside chat with Kenny Nguyen.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Nick. So back in the day, I'm in my Golden Girls era, so like, Sicily. Back in the 1950s or something. We were kind of thinking about how to resolve this problem that was happening and affected many people, including myself. And one of the things that, many people were trying to do at the time were they were trying to push apprenticeship programs and things of that nature to try to get people into the new and burgeoning tech field. That ended up blossoming into a few programs across the nation with the help of something called the Tech Hire Initiative. Byron saw my story of me going through one of those programs, and that led us to, um, you know, uh, what you see now is opportunity at work. It took some years, a lot of dedication, and a lot of time, but I'm glad we've gotten to this point. 10 years is a long, long time, and a lot of great things have happened as a result. So, with that said, I'm glad to have been here to create the STARS Advisory Council because I believe STARS voices are important. It started off with a STARS voice, mine, at the very beginning, and I want to keep that momentum going. And with that said, I'm so honored to have created a great group of people, which we are growing. But I want to start off with one of the people that so lovingly has embraced everything that is Star, and that is Kenny. Kenny, thank you, thank you, thank you for being here, for being welcoming, for being open, and for sharing your story countless times. I don't think we would be where we're at now without what you've been able to share. But I know you've got a cool slide reel because I saw it a little bit earlier when I was on the plane. So if you want to get diving into that to set the scene of what you've done so far and what it's like being a star, would love to see it.
LaShawn, thanks for that tee up. And, any chance I get to chat with you, I'm always about it because I learned so much from you. Thank you for playing a part in this movement. We stars never had that term, but you really did do so much to bring us together. So I got to give you your flowers in the beginning. You know, I'm one of those that helps continues the message. Instead of being, one in a million, one of millions. I mean, that's still something that like resonates so deeply with me as we continue this movement that's been so powerful. And like, I love to see how this has grown. So I'm going to share just a couple of slides here. If I can get quick permission to share the slides real quick again, I'll pop it up on screen. But while I do that, I'll share a quick little story. Like, I'm a star because I was very fortunate to have someone I call a mentor, right, in my life that really believed that instead of actually staying at school, I needed to follow and build the company that I was building. Funny enough, this company was taken off. It was a company that helped people give better presentations. And I started it as a sophomore in college. And while I was in college, this company takes off. And I was like going to class from 7 to like 8:30 a.m. And afterwards, I would fly to like Chicago, New York, LA. It was just so much like work until one day my grades kept plummeting. I had a mentor tell me like, "What are you even doing in school?" They didn't know I had the company, and I knew there was something here when she told me, "Look, what would you do if you didn't have school?" Well, when I told her like, "Look, what I would do, I would create a company that had presentations." She told me that, "Hey, look, I can get you an interview with the CEO of Big Fresh Presentations." And the crazy moment was when I leaned in and I said, "That's my company." And that completely changed the tempo and how she looked at me. And she said, "I'm actually going to kick you out, not because you're failing, but because you're succeeding." And that's was like the pivotal moment in my life where I used to feel ashamed because I thought I had to have that college degree to do something in my life. I had someone
Mhm.
tell me like, "Hey, you can still find that path." And so LaShana, like, I never knew what that like pride I had in myself to figure things out came from. But like since I've joined like the Stars Advisory Council, I've been working with you, like that shame became game. And I want to spread that game to everyone else. So thank y'all for giving me the stage just to share a little bit about that story.
No, absolutely, absolutely. You know, sometimes people need a little wind beneath their wings to soar a little higher. So the hope is that we've done exactly that for you. It's just giving you the fuel that you need to go forward. So we
Yeah.
ready for sharing? Are we good?
Yeah, so a little bit about like, they've asked me to come here and share a little bit of like, advocacy and like what have we done. So, it wasn't just enough to be on the Stars Advisory Council. I felt like just to be a part of the advisory council was one thing, but to really be an advocate for this movement was another one. And what I
Mm-hmm.
loved so much about this council was it gave me the language, it gave me the data, it gave me community. And that confidence actually led us to do so. My company 368, alongside our nonprofit Assembly Required, we do convene on one central mission, and that's to help Baton Rouge become the creative capital of the South. And the only way you can do that is to really have the best talent at the table. And you can't make wobbly tables for those that join you. And we have to make very equitable tables. And so this nonprofit, to take the stars movement along with it, we did several events. One was in 2023, we did a whole entire conference on the future of talent.
Mm-hmm.
Talent. Byron came and spoke. We had several other folks that were like big in on the movement as well, including Stephen Morey with Strata. Then we have Allison Lands from Sky High, now at JFF. So we had a lot of friends that come in and spoke about the importance about the SARS movement. But that wasn't enough. That actually caused some conversations here. I had the chance to actually like be a part of something that BRAC, the Baton Rouge Area Chamber, sponsored, which was a bill to actually remove the barriers for state jobs for over 1 million Louisianians. We tore the paper ceiling in Louisiana. But this is like such a critical lesson for me. This is a photo of our governor and the bill being signed, HB 566. I realized like just because this bill was signed, no one, I thought this was the job. I thought this
Mm-hmm.
was the goal that like we had to do this. Otherwise than that, like we're done, right? I realized like after we got this signed, job's not done. Like there was no like speaking about it, there was no marketing about it or anything. And that's when I realized like, holy crap, this is like gonna be, you know, a decade, multiple decades long job. Just because you have the bill passed doesn't mean stars out there and employers immediately change their behaviors. And that was the unlock I had in advocacy was when I realized like we got to tell the world about this. So we did an event last year called Untapped, where I definitely recommend anyone to go to Netflix and watch the Untapped movie. Justin, who is here, and LaShana, were part of this event here. But I'll play a quick little video here just so y'all see it. But this is what we did. We did an event celebrating stars, tearing the paper ceiling. We actually did like really, really funny. We had a whole entire gallery of stars. One thing that we feel that stars don't do is they don't own their stories. And so you can see here, we showcase like stars of all different types of demographics, age, where they are in life. We showcase where they were in the community today. And that was like a powerful message because it showed people that, hey, you get to also be at the table here. In fact, you can sit the big seat at the table. And so this was like a big event where we actually talked about, there you go, Lachana, where we talked about why like Louisiana like needs to keep talking about this. And so, since then, I've spoken recently actually about like MAP. And this is why I've been preaching a lot about advocacy today for SARS. It's a very simple formula. You want to be a mentor, an advocate, and you want to give the pathways for other stars. And so that's been like kind of the journey so far, is that as a star myself, I lacked community. Stars Advisory Council gave me that. I lacked then the language. I lacked then the data to make a compelling
Hmm.
case on why other people should be seen. Y'all gave me that. But then after that, I knew that, my ability to bring together events and work with people in our community, it gave me the springboard to be an advocate for this movement. And now I'm trying to be a map for everybody. And so, not to keep talking, but that's been the journey so far. And I still think the best is yet to come, though. I really do.
No, absolutely. So one of the things I was thinking about, I was like, I have talked with you for so long with so many things, especially recently the podcast, the Paperless Pathways podcast, which thank you for hopping on a phone call with me to show the dynamic of how we are as stars. I was like, Kenny, I'm thinking about a podcast. He's like, get on the phone. Let's talk about this. So one of the things that I was thinking about is like, when did we even like start talking? Like what was it like, in those very, very early days? Can you give a
Hmm.
little bit about like what it was like the first time we met and started talking about this whole entire thing, some of the, ideas that you may have pushed out there that maybe we can get right back around to.
LaShawna, like, just get into that vulnerability. Like the first times we chatted, I remember I didn't speak a lot in the first meetings
No,
because you
you
feel that
didn't. No, you
you
didn't. I
feel,
was like, he's so
yeah.
quiet.
Well, that's because you have that imposter syndrome. It's like, what can I bring to this, right? What can I bring to this movement? Do I have something that's like right here? And that's something that I have to fight eventually, where I realize that like there's a community here that I can just open up. But I remember the first times though that we did speak, the one thing here that made me feel so much better was that we found a common enemy, which was the paper ceiling, right? That like just
Hmm.
having that language and having like unity around there, that was like such a big part of my journey to like realize like, whoa, like we can rally around something here. And with that experience, this common, we all have the common experience of the common enemy, right? Now we can
Right.
have a conversation. That was what it was. But like some of the early ideas is that I still think, you know, a conference, because like what happened was pretty quickly y'all asked me to post a LinkedIn post about my story. Y'all flooded me with thousands of comments, for better for worse, right? Because I was like, there's no way I
Yeah.
can respond to all these. But I realized the number one thing that people asked in those comments was that, how are we not getting together more? Something like this, right? Why are we not
Right.
getting together? Why can't we find community? So I feel like the direction of community is exactly where we need to go. And this is such a dang good step. And y'all are doing it. And I'm grateful to be a part of it.
Yeah, and there's more to come on that.
Yeah.
We've been kind of scraping together some ideas in the background, but we really, really want to bust through the ceiling on creating a really robust community that's active and can be ambassadors. And with that said, you talked a bit about the advocacy that you're doing right now. What motivated you? Like what you talked about being kind of kicked out and told you're
Yeah.
already doing this thing. What is it that kind of fueled it for you, that was just like that definitive moment where you're just like, this is something that I need to do and I'm just going to do this. I feel like, Kenny, you're going to do it for the rest of your life. I'm just going to say it right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, I really do too. But like the thing is, like in Asian culture, like the worst thing you can do is drop out of school, like straight up. In fact, when I remember like joining like the STARS Advisory Council, I was asking around, of like, can you give me some stats about like API folks, like STARS? It was kind of murky. Like you didn't really have that because a lot of folks in our community like feel that like shame like very intensely. Like, you have to finish
Hmm.
school, but I mean, it was the feeling where my certain family members thought I was gonna be like homeless. Like they thought I would be homeless. I wouldn't be able to contribute anything to the community. They thought like because I lacked this degree, that's it. Like I threw my life away. And the way they looked at my parents, like it just like I had that like chip on my shoulder to say like I don't need this to prove
Hmm.
myself. And the unlock that I had was that, when they say like play stupid games, like win stupid prizes and all that, like I realized the stupid game I was trying to play here was trying to prove to them I didn't need this degree. When I stopped caring about it, that's when my unlock happened, when I was proud to actually advocate on it. So not only did I take their, their insults about me not having a degree, I went public about it, saying that I will advocate for these people. And that was like the best way I could have done it, was like, you gotta turn that shame into gain. That's how you do it. That moment of when they thought I wasn't gonna be successful, I could have turned into a moment, I'm gonna prove you wrong. Instead, I changed into a moment though of, I want to do something for myself. And that was just like the best unlock for me.
Awesome, awesome. And you're talking about movers there, and I'll say very similarly in my culture. Grew up in East St. Louis, Illinois, 98% Black. There was the whole talented 10th thing for those of you that know about that, where they kept pushing, 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 going to college. And I was literally told that if I didn't go to college and graduate, that I would just end up in a cardboard box, and that was my future.
Uh,
So, I
yeah,
mean, very aligned on that perspective, and really understanding that it's kind of going against the grain of
yeah.
your support system as you see it, as you have it, as it exists. But let's talk a little bit about like where you see the future of us going with stars. Like, we are growing the Stars Advisory Council. That's number one thing that I've always wanted, and we're actually starting to get into doing that. Like, what are some of the things you would love to see? Obviously, we're thinking convening as well, like something in person, something where we can all kind of gather together. Like, what are some things that you're just hoping will happen as we start growing this movement?
Have to keep getting together and like sharing common data and common language. I think that's like when you build a culture, right? Cultures are not just norms, right? There's shared languages here. We have to continue doing that. I think it's great is that we're gathering together here, and
Mhm.
if there's more to come, we need to keep doing that, because I think a lot of this movement here has been with speaking to institutions and employers. But what about the stars themselves that have to be a part of this to get to the table? This has been such a weird movement in a sense of like, I thought it's all about like the employers that we have to convince, and then the
Mhm.
people that want to donate to this. But I realized like there's so much work to work with stars too, to get them to the table to want to be a part of this. We have to keep pushing that. There has to be more events like these. There has to be more like community coalitions, like
Mhm.
community events, kind of like what we did, to bring them to the table. Like, we have so many states that are removing those degree requirements, right? You have to keep talking about that, and like keep communicating with stars too, because they'll never get to the table if they don't feel like they're welcome. And
Right.
like once they feel like they're welcome, you still have to like keep sending invites over. But once they're there, man, you'll have some immense, incredible talent at the door for you.
Absolutely, absolutely. So let's say that you are going out there, you're talking. I know that you do this on a regular basis when you're out on stage. And I've gone through it similarly too, where I start talking, sharing my story, and then inevitably somebody runs up and they're just like, I didn't know that this was a name for something that I am, but I love the moniker. I love being called a star, and I want to be able to help, and I want to be able to shine other stars within my company, or they know someone who's a star. It's very, very close. I feel like everything is just kind of like falling in the line whenever we get up there on the stage, start telling the
Mm.
story, coming back, and being able to give out the way that we can. So what advice would you give to anyone who is just like, I really know what's the next step for me? What do I do? Or, if somebody's there in the audience and they're too afraid to speak up, because a lot of people don't talk about the fact that a lot of us are underground. Some of us don't even want people to know that we don't have degrees because of the shame and the stigma associated with it. Speaking directly to those people, what would you say to them?
That's very difficult, because at our last assembly required event, there were so many stars that are successful in the community that did not want to be part of the gallery,
Mm.
particularly women.
And you had a lot of people. There were a
We had a
lot
lot
of
of people.
people. Yeah.
I had like 20 people that declined that were super successful, that were like, there is no way I can out myself. And I thought that was wild. They were like, we're all for this movement. And that's why I knew there was so much more work to be done. It was typically women African American women that are like, I can't say this yet. And then I realized, like, man, just because like this is still out here, we still have so much work to be done
Yes.
where people can feel like they can publicly say that they're a star. But whenever they ask me, what do I do? It's map. I have to think about to myself, can you be a mentor to other stars? Can you advocate for other stars by name when they're not in the room? And pathway, can you show other stars where they can go next in their journey? How can you be a map for others? And I realized like in my career, that's been the best way I've helped any star. I mean, Justin's on here, and like, we got to work together here. It's all about map, mentor advocacy and pathways. And he's done a great job at that as well. The ripple effects continue to work.
Awesome. Thank you. And as we sign off here, um, you're moving on. You're leaving and doing some big things. Can you talk a little bit about what you're doing? I don't want you to violate any NDAs or anything like that.
So I've transferred my role from I used to be the CEO of 368. Now I'm the chairman, but now I'm full time as the EVP of operations for Win America. We're in real estate development. Community has always been a part of my core, helping our city get better. I realized that one, 368 was like the mouthpiece, like being the big advocate for the city, but I want to make the spaces in our city amazing as well. And now we still have an amazing team at 368. Justin's helming, he's on here today. The sales, like as the VP of Biz Dev, I could not be more prouder of him, and he's going to take it even further than I could have ever taken it. I know that. So, my focus now is like, how do I get the city to have the better places and spaces?
So thank you, Kenny. Thank you for taking the time. We know you have a busy schedule. I love that we were able to capture what you do, where you're going, and what you're thinking. And congratulations on the award. I see it there.
Oh yeah,
But yeah,
thank y'all. Yeah,
we're gonna move on to our next segment. I think I'm throwing it back to Nick.
Well, thank you,
thank y'all.
LaShana. But Kenny, don't go anywhere. If we can spotlight Kenny, and you can feel free to leave LaShana and I up on the screen as well. I do want to take a moment to go back to the actual writing on the award, because these awards, it's a really special moment, y'all. This year is the inaugural Star Awards ceremony. And so Kenny is so busy that we wanted to make sure he got his award on the time that he could give us today for this
Oh,
fireside chat, right? So Kenny, you officially now get the distinct honor of being the first star to
oh,
officially be acknowledged. But this is really important when you think about what
thank
the
you.
star term is, right? Many of us, I know myself included, spent 20 years out in the workforce feeling the shame. And I will never forget the day that on LinkedIn I saw the STAR acronym. I can't tell you how many times I looked at job postings and immediately felt discouraged, like I couldn't possibly break through the paper ceiling. And I would look at different, acronyms behind other people's names and things that they could say that were, ways to represent themselves proudly. And I would say, wait a second, like there's so many things I can do, and I don't have a way to promote myself in a positive light. And then this organization, and I'll give a shout out to Will Viota, who's now at an organization called Unidos or Unidos, depending on
Mhm.
your accent. But he used to lead marketing here, and he came up with the STAR acronym, and it's so beautiful. It's so life-changing. I wish if we had a member from our marketing team. I don't know if Kelly is out there and has the ability to post, but there's some stats that we have about how the STAR term is being adopted. I think we're up to as many as 10 million within the 75 million who have heard the term and who are beginning to adopt it, right? In different ways. Of course, we need to do it in a more public, unified, connected way so we can show the solidarity. But Kenny, you talked about the purpose of community, right? And what it takes to
Mhm.
build community. And I recently reflected on it. If you think about any community that has been challenged, they've all typically have had a fixed identity that made it clear, right, that it was something to advocate, for
Mm.
better, whether it be your race or your gender, um, or any others that are fixed identities. And then you think of even disabilities. Many times those can be long term, but the star identity, like the ability to be identified around your education level, it's something that for so many of us we're told to change it, or you can change it. Why
Mm,
haven't you changed it? It's not a fixed identity. It's dynamic. It's encouraged to be changed. But the STAR acronym, it gives us an ability to stand in our greatness as is. Um,
mm,
so with that, I want to take this moment to really center on these awards because there's no other place that I know of that is acknowledging us as we are and celebrating that, right? We get acknowledged when we change it, when we do something else. But this really is like a special occasion. So shout out to George because George is the one behind some of these awesome write-ups for these awards. And so as I read it out here, Kenny Nguyen, right, is being presented with our inaugural Innovation and Impact Award. As the CEO of 360, Kenny has redefined how stars tell their stories and challenge conventional narratives. His dedication to AAPI representation and creative storytelling transforms both brands and community futures. So, Kenny,
oh,
in this
thank
moment,
y'all.
um, just want to, I'll step backstage just to allow you to have some, acceptance remarks. I don't know if we need like music to like curb the time, but no. Kenny, the floor is yours, and just thank you for everything you've done. You've been an inspiration to anyone who's been close to witness you and see it. And so, with this segment now being recorded here, we can share your story again and again with so many others and inspire more stars to step up and do some of the things you've done and more. So, thank you.
Thank you, Nick, and thank you, everybody. This is when I opened the box and I got this. I'll keep this short and sweet. I mean, you never do it for the applause. You do it for the cause, right? And that's always something I've always been deep with. I tell people all the time, it's like you've got to do it for the cause, not the applause. But thank you for this award here. Uh, the thing that the job's not done. That's how I view it. And I'm not to feel like, not be so present moment, but I really do think the best is yet to come. And the STARS Advisory Council and anyone that attends here, you can always hit me up to have a conversation or give feedback or anything because this is such a big thing for our community. I want to still be a part of this. So still please like shoot me an email. I'll throw my email right here in the chat. I'm always like down to talk with anybody because I really do think the best is yet to come here. So thank y'all so much. But right before we go as well, I'll say this too. One thing I love about this is it's produced by stars, right? I think it would be very weird to have an event that's produced not by stars. It has to be produced by the people we represent, right?
Hmm.
And this is such a great way to do it. So, LaShana, like, thank you. You've been such an integral part of this movement and still will be and always will be. So, thank you for like shining light on other stars as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's about support. The like I said, with the thing with the podcast, I was just like, who do I know in my circle that I trust, whose opinion that I know will be supportive of stars and make sure that we are getting, to the root cause of the problem as well as giving a good, layout of exactly what the stars movement is about and, puts us in the best light. And that's why I immediately thought of you because I
Oh,
know that you
same,
are here,
same.
you are tuned in, you are tapped in, and you're ready to go. And that's what we know that there are others out there that are like that, and we want to be able to bring them into the movement to do a lot of that work. So we may be pulling on you, even though you're busy. We know you're a busy man, but we may still pull on you to kind of give a little bit of guidance as well as we move forward because I still want those ambassadors of ours that have left, have done other things to still feel like you have the opportunity to come back and provide some guidance or, a little bit of chutzpah for some people who need it.
Yeah,
So, but thank you.
always glad to do that. And I will
Yeah.
always give any playbook that I have to anyone that asks. Y'all, any day. Nick knows you can call me anytime. You know that.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So thank you again, Kenny. Thank you for lending us Justin. We appreciate it. I think he's done the best as far as being an ambassador, and I love speaking with him. With that said, I will throw it back to Nick
Yeah.
to go ahead officially sign us out.
Well, LaShana and Kenny, we can't thank you enough. If you think about it, everything starts from the roots and the beginning, and we would not be here if it weren't for y'all. So, LaShana, thank you for saying yes when you got the call, and for saying yes for how many years has it been now?
10 years.
Oof,
It's been 10
that's
years.
that's a whole lot of yeses, y'all. And when
It's
I
been
say that,
84 years. Yeah. Oh, yeah,
oof,
exactly.
when I say that, like LaShana says yes to almost everything, random calls, random texts, random flights out to where are you right now,
Yeah, I'm in
LaShana?
Pittsburgh right now. I literally just landed about a couple of hours ago. Ran to my hotel room. So shout out to my Uber driver who drove in the rain and got me to my hotel in impeccable time. So I actually literally logged in 2 minutes after I walked through the door. So, but yeah, again, it's teamwork. It's teamwork. Nobody. What do they say? There's a friend who says success is a team sport. Is you don't do it alone. There's always other people, and one of the things that I always think about as we work on the Stars movement is how many people are involved and how many people have stepped up and actually helped and push things forward. Even if they're in the small corner of the world, and you've got those people who just go one-on-one talking to their supervisor, to people like Kenny who are moving entire states to adopt legislation to promote and shine a light on stars.
Oh
So
man,
it's
well,
all in it together. We're all in it together.
for those that know me, know that I'm a former DJ, and you said shine the light. I just felt like I heard the song shine the light on them. But what I'm gonna do in this moment is shine the light on why you're in Pittsburgh, right? Our CEO Byron Agis is just an amazing individual who's taken up this cause and really inspired by the story of his father. Feel free to look that up on YouTube. Just really studied the market as an economist and really called out where the inefficiency was at and is
Mhm.
dedicated at least these last 10 plus years to this mission. And we can't thank him enough. And he was recently honored with a Heinz Award. There's only 6 who get honored, 3 different categories, only 2 in each category. It's a prestigious award, and he's got a whole host of special people in town with him, including LaShana Lewis, including our chief impact officer, Papia DeBroy, our chief engagement officer, Courtney Haynes, and our current most tenured star on staff, Natalia Lara, director of product design, leading our star inclusion mode effort. So it's a really special event. I put in the chat there a write up on it for any who haven't seen it. But again, it's just a testament to how many times LaShana says yes, and it takes a special person to lean all the way in. And really, it's been an honor in my role to receive the body of work that you've been leading with George, supporting to really think about how do we get this to the next level, right? How do
Mhm.
we take
Right.
this up and scale to reach as many of the 75 million as possible? Because if you think about what might be possible for us, right? Is number one, making the path easier for others. For any who've had to deal with it, it has at times been challenging to be faced with that paper ceiling. So if we can make it better for others, I think it's just the right thing to do. And so I'm glad that we're leaning in to do that. And as Kenny said, this movement, it really does go leaps and bounds ahead when stars are activated, right? When they're a part of this movement, when they're at the table. If you were on yesterday, you had the privilege of being with one of our partners, Sloan Leo of Flock Studio, and they talked about community design and community building. And when you have solutions that are built with the communities affected, that's when they really take off. When you're trying to have others designing, thinking they understand the lived experience in full, it just doesn't work. Of course, we need everyone at the table to make things better.
Mhm.
Some people have access to resources, to positions of power and influence, and we all need to come together to make this better. But if the folks that are being helped are left out and they're not helping to drive the major decisions, we're going to fall short. But thankfully,
Yeah.
this organization recognized that, reached out to you, LaShana, Shad Ahmed, who will be with us tomorrow as our former COO. He helped create this STARS Advisory Council to help make sure that as many decisions as possible are done with STARS.
Yeah,
And as
and
I
that's the nuances that get missed, with what you're talking about is that, a lot of times people kind of see the gloss over things, but one of the things I do admire about Byron, like in the very early days, and this is a little bit of storytelling moment for people who don't know, literally the day that the Tech Hire Initiative announcement was made by President Obama at the time, that night, I believe Byron asked me, he was like, "Can you come to my house?" And I'm like, "Sure." And it's like his wife was there, his team was there, and it's a Washington D.C. thing where people just like gather in these spaces. And one of the things he was asking me, he was like, LaShana, when you went to interview for this tech job, like, what did you do? And I like literally laid it out for him. And he was like, did you like even show them what you could do? Like, what were you able to show them like that you could create a website that you had I was like, Byron, I sat down and I like gave them things in like a laptop and I had websites for them to go to. So even if they thought it was just me showing them something on the website, I was like, you can actually go yourself and do that. And it was that level of questioning that made the difference when it was coming into like troubleshooting and trying to figure out a lot of the intricacies of the problem that we're facing with getting stars out into the higher wage jobs is like being able to ask the question and find out just the little bitty things that we've already done so that you're not recreating the wheel here and then telling people, oh, you need to do this or you need to do that, and then walking away from the table. When you bring the stars to the table, you could say, hey, did you do this? Did you think about that? Did you? And then you're fast forwarding through all of these primary steps and you're getting to the root of what the actual issue is. And I think we've gotten there faster because we had stars involved.
I mean, there's probably countless stories of where you can talk about how when the affected population is there, how it's made better, how it moves faster. Kenny opening the doors with state of Louisiana. We have an awesome team, but Kenny was the one, right, that helped push it forward in Louisiana. We
Exactly.
had been knocking on doors and hadn't been let in yet, but then Kenny comes in, knocks on the door, and he opens up and lets us in to help out, right? And so sometimes it really is. Just that power that can happen when you bring folks in. Um, but what I wanted to point out here is we have a couple things coming up later today at 1 p.m. Eastern. We have an AI for Stars session that's going to be led by our lead on our side, Alicia Ogilvy. And then we also have that session being co-led by one of our former stars on staff, Kathleen Colton of Compass Pine. Then at 2 p.m. Eastern, we'll be bringing LaShana back to go ahead and tape the first episode of season 2 of our Paperless Pathways podcast live. So it's going to be pretty amazing. Y'all get to see the magic happen. It'll officially be published in December, but you get to see it live today at 2 p.m. Eastern, right here on the same webinar link. And then tomorrow, as I mentioned before, we have the Star Awards ceremony. The inaugural ceremony will be at 12 Eastern tomorrow, followed by a series of segments that will let you know how this Star Movement Builders community is going to be progressing and scaling and doing the work next year together, right? The whole point of building the Movement Builders community is to allow us to be in the same space, connect with each other, and then begin to connect with other members of Opportunity at Work staff, other partners in our Tear the Paper Ceiling Coalition, even other contractors that we bring in to specifically help with the work. As we all combine, I was going to date myself and make an old reference that I made yesterday privately, a Voltron. That's an old one. You got to be an older head to know about that one. But when we combine forces, we'll be able to do so much more. So if you haven't received an invite, or if you're not already in the Star Movement Builders community on Slack, look out for that invite to come to you today. We'll take the list of people who registered for today and send that invite out. So look out for that. And I also then want to end in this moment with some shout outs. Okay. I'm looking at this list of attendees, and although I can't see you because it's a webinar, I can see your names on the list. And I'm just thinking about all the skills. I'm looking at Chelsea as an entrepreneur, actually en route to pursue. It's interesting. For those that don't know, we are not anti-college by any means. Chelsea has found an interesting alternative path to actually be able to get a bachelor's, master's, and PhD all in one program. So Chelsea's got an interesting thing as an alternative path towards a degree, right? So that's one, just tremendous skills as an entrepreneur, and then also pursuing an alternative pathway towards an education credential that she has been desiring for her life's purpose. I got Courtney out there working in the financial services industry, who's been a part of our campaign. Appreciate you being with us. Just tremendous skills to be working with one of the major credit bureaus out here. Davon Yates on staff, just tremendous skills, working IT in the background. Gabe, who was a part of our STARS community design board effort. Chef, if you're in the community, you'll know a little bit more about Gabe in there. Gisela on our finance team. Ivan, who at times when I say right, if you hear me in the middle of the way I speak and I say right, that comes from Ivan Santillan, out on our policy team, who you'll hear from tomorrow out in California. Just tremendous skills. The man, I'm sure, is very composed under any situation. If you know, you know. Jared Rogers with Indeed, coming to us from the event production side. Justin Hutchison, just Google. Like, LaShana, why would I even say anything, right? Just Google Justin Hutchinson. You'll see Katie on our team as well, strong in IT, and I believe is going to be our support for our Slack community. If anyone is having any trouble, doesn't know how to work on Slack, look out for the person named Katie. That's Kati. Keith Parrish, who's a part of our campaign as well. Keith, Justin, LaShana, any of y'all that have been a part of the campaign, for me, what's more important is to see you off of the screen and off of the page, right? See you as a real person, see what you're doing out there. And so this is extremely special in that regard. Kelly Powers, part of our marketing team, just extraordinary in those efforts. I don't know if it's Kaylin or Kayleen. We haven't been able to connect yet, but coming to us from Grads of Life. Really happy to have you with us. Mario from a former STARS Innovation Program. Mike Bradshaw from the STARS Advisory Council, VP of Talent. It's just amazing to see our stars at the highest of levels in all orgs. Monique Way, Executive Assistant Extraordinaire, still looking to see how we might bring some of this work to the executive assistant arena. Paige with our public sector hub team literally came from working in the public sector as a leader there, now leading here our public sector hub. So really walking the walk. Patrick, an amazing consultant who had risen up the ranks at Wells Fargo, but now is leading his own consulting firm. And we look to see how you can bring all of that in. And to round out, Sheb Myers, who again saw us at our State of the Paper Ceiling event last April and is now with us in community. So I appreciate y'all listening to me this long. We're going to sign off for a 10-minute break and see you back at 1 p.m. Eastern to start off the AI for Stars session. Any final word, LaShana?
Let's do it.
All right. See y'all back at 1 p.m. Eastern. Thank you.